Oftentimes, when we think of music coming out of the continent of Africa, we tend to think of Nigerian artists. But in reality, there are many other musicians coming out of the continent, specifically in Ghana. Today, I'm here with the award-winning Ghanaian musician, Stonebwoy. And we are here in New York City. Thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, what's up, yo?
So let's start off with this. I wouldn't necessarily consider you an Afrobeat artist because when I'm listening to your songs, you normally combine Afrobeats, dancehall, R&B, reggae. I mean, what would you say? How would you consider your music?
My music is music of black origin. Another word to get familiar with would be Afro-dancehall. You know, the Afro stands for the Afrobeat, it stands for Africa, it stands for African sounds, and then dancehall definitely is also a genre that has African roots in there. Everything put together just made me realize that my music is hugely influenced by music of black origin.
Do you consider yourself someone who's trying to unify black music or black people in general through your music?
Absolutely so, because music is a spiritual entity on its own. Everybody has the reason why they do, music. What I see is that I have to use it well for its purpose, which is to unite nations and unite people. So that's why I tapped into that zone of not just putting myself in a box.
You're one person and you're one artist from Ghana, and obviously you're huge and you're doing good things. But when we think about music coming out of the continent, for some reason, many people think of Nigerian artists. How can we better improve how we showcase African artists from other countries?
I think it's very simple, would be what Duke is doing. Duke Concepts, the promoter and the management team behind some of the very huge shows that have been here on this side. We just finished a concert last month, which was dubbed Rolling Coco in DC.
Where was that? DC?
Yeah, and that's actually concentrated on Ghana music. So that is one of the very things that we can do too. And then the same person is doing sound from the East. So he's putting it together probably, let's say maybe between 6 and 10 Eastern African nations together and pulling them over this side. You can imagine the other people that are doing stuff that I don't know about.
So I've known Stonebwoy for about 10 years now, and we've done a couple of shows together. There is consistent growth with him, and you can tell from his performance at the stadium in Ghana where he did his headline show, had over 50,000 people. He wouldn't have been able to do that many years ago, right? Not just selling out, because selling out is one thing, but being able to engage that amount of people takes a level of experience. That shows you the growth. Stonebwoy is somebody that anytime, any day, you can put on stage and is ready to kill it. You don't have doubts on is he going to have a good day, is he going to have a bad day. Like anytime he's on stage, anytime he has to be on stage, he's ready. So that's the kind of act that we look forward to, because when we sell them, the audience will get their money worth when you sell the shows, right? Rather than you put somebody on the stage and people are complaining. So,
talk to me about some of your work. I think recently, as of last month, you did a concert in DC called Rolling Coco Festival, now known as Golden Coco Festival.
Rolling Coco was put together to specifically promote and export Ghanaian music the right way, because we feel like there's not been any stage for Ghanaian music to be properly exhibited. So it's a festival, new festival, was successful, and we had Stonebwoy, Black Sheriff, Altubis, Kidi, Quisiato, a lot, and Afia, not to forget Afia.
Stonebwoy was one of the headliners.
Correct. Next year, we are working on having it in Toronto, in New York, and in London. That's the next festival, Rolling Coco. So our goal is for people to not just consume Afrobeat the way they do, which is go to Nigeria and listen to all the Nigerian guys. That's because with commercial people just look for what's trending. They're not interested in seeing what's the next thing. But for us, that's not how we operate. We want to give opportunity to everyone to be able and want to grow with them.
What is your role to holistically help promote music coming out of the continent?
Those opportunities we are creating is helping to export Afrobeat to the rest of the world. Because you cannot just make music and it stays in your hard drive or it stays on Apple. You have to perform it, you have to export it, you have to market it, and part of the ways of marketing that music is to perform it.
fact that when people think African music, their mind only goes to Nigeria. That on its own, first and foremost, I don't think is a problem. Why? Because I'm looking to the advantage of it rather than looking to the disadvantage of it.
What's the advantage?
The advantage is that once upon a time, this is where we are. And if we consider us as a people, if we consider us as brothers, as family, then this is where one becomes for all and all becomes for one.
That's why you're okay with doing collaborations with Nigerian artists as well as other artists?
Collaboration is key. Collaboration is what makes the world go round. Collaboration is what births humans. A male and a female have to collaborate to bring people. So right from inception, collaboration is everything. I don't have a problem with Nigerians leading the charter, because when they go, we go. When we go, they go, because we're one people. But if you want to look at it from a divisive perspective, it wouldn't take us anywhere. We have to look at the collectiveness of it and the contributions that each individual brings to the fore that gets it going. When African music comes to play, Nigeria would be the lead. But when Nigeria comes to speak, Nigeria will tell you the contributions that have been for it to be in the lead. Aside putting together the shows that Duke Concepts is doing, we also have to reduce the ego and the selfishness and give credit so that it becomes a complete circle, you know, and then the true meaning of one for all or for one will be well established.
You just performed at MSG with Davido. That was amazing.
You're one of Africa's greatest. And I have to stand on this note and send a very big love to my brother Davido, because ever since we began to contact in person, it has been a blessing and it has been something that the world loves. So me appearing on his show at the Madison Square Garden, you could see the cheer, you could see the crowd, you could see the love, because there are Ghanaians in there in the crowd.
I love that you say that, because to be honest, a lot of people don't think like that. They don't think collaboration, they think competition, especially when it's like a niche market. You know, Afrobeats and music coming out of the continent is still very new. So it's like people are more susceptible to want to be that person who brings it, you know, forward to America. The
more the merrier, they say. So you can only be sick in the head if that's where you're closing your final thoughts on. It doesn't help anything. I've been collaborating with a lot of Nigerian brothers from time, with Techno, with Banky W, with Cynthia Morgan. We've done collaborations all across. Some names are not even coming to mind.
So with all that being said, again, I give you very much kudos to you for talking about unity. And so far we've been honing in on you being unified with Nigerians. What about being unified with other Ghanaian artists?
I think I have collaborated a lot at home, because you know, you have to dance a yard before you dance abroad. When it comes to collaborations, I think my name will come up as one of the most collaborated at home, and even to speak outside home as well. So I don't have a problem at all in terms of collaboration or in terms of uniting the musical sounds. You know, uniting the musical sound is different from uniting the personas or the personalities. That's one thing we have to also understand, so that we don't worry ourselves too much.
Do you think if two Ghanaian artists' personalities clash will affect the Ghanaian music industry in the long run?
You can always do business, you know, because it has its own principles. And friendship has its own principles too. So friendship might not work, but business could work. Unfortunately in life, you cannot be friends with everybody, and everybody cannot be friends with you. And as you go along, you're going to be making a lot of enemies, knowingly and unknowingly, directly and indirectly. So understanding these concepts is knowing peace. Some people would only meet on the business, and that's best for them. And some people will meet as friends and create the business. It's normal.
That's in every industry, so I get you. I get you. Exactly. So my other question was, you mentioned something like, as you go higher, there's always going to be enemies that come, like in any industry, so that's correct. But like, this is where I talk about you personally. Like, how do you handle that?
In the industry, is there. It's sometimes very unnecessary, but that only tells you that that's life. It's not easy to be a positive person. because it's difficult to want to always see things with light.
But that's what I'm saying. How do you like emotionally, physically, mentally handle it?
I see things from a light perspective.
Okay.
Because my mom told me one thing that I always would keep. When you move, you have to make space. Definitely so. People will feel a certain kind of way about that. People would have genuine reasons to hate you. Some of the reasons when you hear them, if you were them, you would hate you. But for me, I come with light. Because my mom always tells me that whatever the situation is, no matter how big the size of the darkness is, all you need to be is a tiny torch. And you're going to cut through. It's not easy, you know, but you want to stand out, you have to stand out, you have to move. So that's how I deal with everything. But ultimately, I stand on the truth. I stand on honesty. When I do anybody wrong, and I know it from the bottom of my heart that I'm wrong, I make sure I, correct. Not always going to apologize, but it's a learning curve in life. So once you apply all the other principles of being positive, being humble, being strong, being firm, you find a lot of peace. So that's all I've been about.
Actually, a lot of Nigerian artists, and many artists in particular, that gravitate towards you. So it says a lot about your character.
Thank you very much.
Speaking about, I think you mentioned something about your mother and some of the lessons she's taught you. Another personal question. So we all go through challenges. Has there ever been a time or something that happened to you where you were you just want to give up?
We don't give down. All self-serving, they give up. We do, where we're coming from, no, we don't know give up. It says, no give down, no give up. I'm being honest with you. Because I've been through a lot of things. We don't know give up. Give up is not here. Yeah, you can get tired, of course, but you get right back up after resting. That's the mentality I grew up with. On a more serious note, it's the principles, it's the charity begins at home. It's how my parents brought me up. I see obstacles as opportunities for miracles. The moment where there's give up, that's where I stand up.
People know you as a superstar, Stonebwoy. I'm trying to get people to know you, maybe some challenges or something that you face, because you said people, if you can do it, it gives courage to other people, So is there any obstacles you feel like sharing, that you're comfortable sharing, that maybe it was hard and you were like, you know what, I didn't give up, I stood up. I like that quote.
If you know my story, I had an accident at an early age of 13, and I may not even have to specify, people know what it is growing up from, I can just paint this picture, growing up from a ghetto, growing up from a shy man, growing up in the city, maybe if it's Nigeria, Joelegba, if it's probably New York, maybe Bronx, Harlem. It's just the regular. Now we have social media, so I do not even have to only or necessarily paint out my picture. We can all relate because we are all we all know what it is to grow tough or to not have it on the luxurious levels. In reality, life is mixed up with up and downs. My wife is a doctor. She says that every day. And even I to say the line, there's only a very thin line between life and death. So our existence itself is even before we came, the billion sperms that gotta go to
That's exactly
the
what I say
last
to people.
4 that gotta survive. It's from right there you're fighting. The earlier we realize that the sweetness of life is in the struggles, the better.
Wow. Well said.
So that we don't kill ourselves
Well said.
before time.
How do you stay grounded and humbled in your words?
At Ghana Music Awards, I'm the highest nominee. I've been the highest nominee the whole time. I've won the Reggae Dancehall Artist of the Year 7 times in a row. I've won the Reggae Dancehall Artist Africa at Afrimas 4 times on. So are all this supposed to make me be walking in the sky or with my head up high? Yes, it's supposed to make me walk head up high, up in the sky in terms of courage, in terms of knowing yourself, in terms of understanding your purpose and knowing what you want to achieve and the impact thereof back to humanity. But it is not supposed to make me feel like I'm not human. It's not supposed to make me shit on people. It's supposed to humble me. It's supposed to remind me of the fact that there is more to achieve.
So with all being said, right, what do you want your legacy to be? And how is what you're doing with your music career helping you achieve that?
Yes, thank you. My legacy to be is to leave an impact, like I go with the quote that says good name is better than riches. That doesn't mean that riches is not good. It's just better to have good name also. I have stuff in the pipeline that I know are going to continue to keep, that name running. So that would be the impact, so that when the physical representation is not here, another body can assume that name and run it. Let me just break it down. I have kids, I'm going to have children. For instance, just like Bob Marley. Bob Marley's been gone physically for a very long time, but he has his kids, he has his grandchildren who are like pushing the Marley name like never before. So if you ask me what I want to leave behind, what I want to be, I just want to keep a good name.
Mm-hmm. So speaking again about your legacy, what do you hope people take away from your music?
People listen to some of the love songs and they're like, oh bro, I used this love song to get a girl yesterday. I'm like, oh, good for you. Somebody said, because you sang this song, I didn't give up. I'm like, blessed, that's good for you. It's humanitarian service.
You're making that global impact.
Of course.
Through your music.
And whether big or small. So that's all I seek to continue to do. Like I've always done, using my charity as well to affect people's life one way or the other, either ways.
You're also using your music to promote unity, as we
course.
started this interview with.
Basically, that's inevitable. Anybody who has ever used music to cause division himself has long gone.
Anything else you want to add that I didn't ask you, like upcoming projects or something?
We have an album coming. We have just released a single, Odumodu Black. It's crazy, it's huge. It's a week and 2 days old, but it's big. And of course, it's a good time to be alive as an African, and our contributions can never be underestimated. I repeat, our contributions, I don't mean mine, I mean our. From the listeners, to the creatives, to the executives, to the labels, to the buyers, to the fans, to the families, to those who argue, to those who fight. We have come a long way to put Africa in the ears of the world where it belongs in our era. So let's continue to lift it up, big it up, but always remember, as a people, we are great people and have to do it for us. Bless.